Governor Armstrong of North Dakota is being exposed for mutiny by the people that brought him to power. This is your freedom on the line. The citizens' voices are being overwhelmed by corrupt big money. All of a sudden, the citizen-supported candidates have decided it's time to fight back and defend our democracy. The system where the citizens control the government, not the conspiring deep state rulers with big dark money. Many of our candidates and legislators are fighting back and organizing for an uphill battle to defend your freedom. What they don't realize is that long uphill battle they're preparing for has already been fought and won. What they don't realize is that there is an army of citizens across this state and even this entire nation that is behind them. But the deep state criminals that manipulate social media are silencing them. The problem is overcoming the censorship. Hello everybody, I'm Ferris Broxton. I've already caught the criminals that conspire to rule the citizens. This is the Spotlight. I caught the criminals that conspire to rule the citizens both in the top national investigation and this deep state takeover of North Dakota. I've already laid the charges necessary to completely expose and destroy their conspiring criminal empire. I have the evidence and testimony, but I'm being electronically silenced, shadow banned. You can help. I'm going to show you the evidence today that Governor Armstrong is caught in a treasonous felony. I'm going to show the North Dakota GOP how to put Governor Armstrong and the people he's conspiring with behind bars. It's really not that hard. All you have to do is get me heard in the biggest investigation in the country. You simply have to get me heard by the people that are looking for me, the top authorities in this country. Whenever the Attorney General of the United States realizes who I am and who I've caught, Governor Armstrong and his deep state conspirators will be ruined. Today, I'm going to present to the public the evidence and the witness, more than one, necessary to indict Governor Armstrong, Drew Wrigley, and Nick Chase for a treasonous felony. If my claim wasn't true, the communist mouthpiece, Rob Port, would be making a laughingstock out of me. As it is, I'm hearing crickets from the big media in North Dakota. They don't want you to hear this. First, I'm going to show you that there is an investigation into a treasonous plot to overthrow our country. Then I'm going to show you that I am the eyewitness against the chief suspect. Then I'm going to show you evidence and witnesses proving that Governor Kelly Armstrong is obstructing the nation's most important investigation. That's a felony. I'm going to show you the specific code of law that should be used to indict Governor Kelly Armstrong. I'm further going to show you that Kelly Armstrong has a deep understanding of this grand conspiracy and the FISA abuse by showing his words on the record taken from a top national security investigation. He can't plead ignorant. He is caught in a treasonous felony. The solution is really very simple after that. Our AG and U.S. Attorney are also caught in this case. They will not do the right thing. They are the reason I'm being shadow banned and silenced with the tools of the spy agencies. I caught them stealing your money. The solution is to get me heard by the patriots like Joe DeGeneva and Trump-supporting news agencies. Once my story is heard by the public, you will see accountability. The key to preserving your freedom, holding the government criminals accountable, is to getting me heard. To start, I have to prove that there's an investigation which Kelly Armstrong is obstructing. Clip 1, please.
You just laid out the last 10 years. You heard the former chairman of the Intelligence Committee saying that there has been a conspiracy over 10 years. What have you done about it?
Well, look, that's exactly what we're investigating right now. And
that's the Attorney General telling us that they are investigating a conspiracy that's been going on from 2016 to 2026. The recording that you heard at the introduction to this show is taken from that 2016 time. I've been on these people, busting them for the last 10 years. I got them. Graphics 1, please. This is Todd Blanche in South Florida, the Attorney General, with the people leading the investigation, Joe DeGenova right there in the center, and Jason Quinones. Fort Pierce is where the grand juries are meeting in secret now. Clip 2, please.
All these people are destroying paper records right now, but they cannot destroy the electronic records because they exist in the cloud, and they'll never be able to get rid of those. You start bringing in, and by the way, you ask a very important question. Ordinarily, in an investigation like this, you start at the bottom and work up. In this situation, where we have such incredibly credible evidence that evidence against the people at the top, that you may very well start your grand jury investigation with the former president of the United States, the vice president, the attorney general, Loretta Lynch, Sally Yates, who was the deputy attorney general.
This is Joe DeGenova naming Sally Yates as the person that they're after. Sally Yates is the person that signed the FISA warrant against Trump and ran this criminal organization with FISA. Joe DeGenova told you that they were destroying paper documents. I have the paper documents necessary to prove the ongoing FISA fraud right here in North Dakota, as well as what led to this. I'm the eyewitness. Graphics 2, please. Notice treasonous conspiracy, the heading here on that news article, by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. That's the key to indicting Governor Armstrong. Now that you've seen that there's a legitimate investigation into Sally Yates, the person who conspired with Jim Comey and led the attack against Trump in America, you can see this is seditious conspiracy. I've informed both Governor Armstrong and Julie Fedorchak that both our U.S. Attorney, Nick Chase, and the former U.S. Attorney, Drew Wrigley, are caught in this fraud. It is the governor's legal duty to report that to the president. Mr. Trump, there's a man here, Ferris Broxton, that has evidence that our U.S. attorneys are caught in FISA fraud, and he caught Sally Yates running this fraud. She's the chief suspect. Governor Armstrong has failed to do that, making him guilty of misprision of treason. Your political news agencies are trying to hide this because it exposes their entire grand conspiracy. It exposes the communist mouthpieces that are deceiving the citizens. If you want more proof that corrupt U.S. attorneys are the problem, you should know that Joe DeGenova went down to oversee this investigation because a corrupt U.S. attorney was caught hiding the evidence, just like our local U.S. attorneys are doing. Carmen Mercedes Lineberger, a U.S. attorney in this case, was caught changing the evidence file to cake recipes, then sending it to her own personal collection of evidence. If you want to see more about a powerful woman in a short skirt and a long jacket, just search Department of Justice cake recipes. What's more is Jim Comey has been indicted. Sally Yates talked quite a bit to me about James. I don't recall her specifying his last name, but rather describing him as someone likely to obtain that position or another key position. It's the fine details that I'm a witness to. I've documented Sally's statements about James multiple times over the years. These are quite relevant to convict Comey and proving grand conspiracy between the actors. Yates also named numerous other key players that are caught up in this attempted coup. That's what this is. An attempted overthrow of your government that Kelly Armstrong is cooperating with. I ran a sting operation to catch Sally Yates, starting in 2009. That sting operation ensnared the many U.S. attorneys and government officials who are conspiring to steal taxpayer funds with the Black Ops spy program known as FISA. Nobody stands over them. They thought they would get away with this. They conspired against Trump so they wouldn't be caught. A financially responsible manager gets the thieves out of his company and makes sure they are held accountable. Here's where Governor Armstrong comes in. I caught them, the corrupt U.S. attorneys that I previously mentioned, these deep state actors, but they're able to prevent me from being heard by continuing to abuse the FISA spy program that gives them the ability to intercept communications. I found a reporter that covered the case for a year. I came forward to Governor Kelly Armstrong last year with that reporter, Tommy James. It is the governor's responsibility to report this under penalty of law. He's covered it up for years. In fact, I don't have the evidence online for all of that today, but this goes back to when he was in the oversight. I have the documentation proving that he failed to do his job when he was in the oversight, but I don't have that prepared on this program. I got lots of other good stuff. What you're going to see now is one of multiple trips I made to Bismarck last year to Governor Armstrong's office, reporting the treasonous conspiracy that's under investigation. Clip 3, please.
Folks, we've been learning Ferris Roxton is the man who has the billboards up in Minot, soon to be billboards up in Bismarck. Tell us what they say.
Well, right now they say I'm an unheard witness, eyewitness to a plot by top brass. And I've got one up that says, Committee on the Weaponization of Federal Government, watch Ferris Broxton on Rumble.
Now, tell me what those mean, because people...
This is me with the news at the Capitol talking about billboards that I put up saying I am an unheard eyewitness against top brass. Well, now I'm an unheard eyewitness against the top brass in North Dakota also. The problem is the top brass in North Dakota is censoring me, the truth. What the North Dakota Republicans need to realize is that I've already laid the charges under Governor Armstrong's criminal conspiracy. The North Dakota Republican Party needs to realize that I've got the case to trigger the destruction of the conspiring criminals' entire empire. I'm sending the signal, but the criminals are cutting the signal. You have to be the signal by sharing this video and helping me be heard. Graphics 3, please. This is Sally Yates and the indicted Jim Comey with his covert murder instructions. I'm an eyewitness to much more than seashells that prove these people conspired to overthrow our country. This is a conspiracy, and our nation needs me to be brought forward to testify against corrupt, thieving criminals. But Governor Armstrong is now part of that conspiracy. Watch. Graphics 4, please. This is the law of misprision of treason. I'm being shadow banned. I've screamed to all the proper authorities, but you still haven't seen me on national news. The case is under investigation. This is the governor's full, undeniable legal responsibility. This is the code of the law for misprision of treason. I'm going to read it to you. Whoever, this is a U.S. Code Section 2382, misprision of treason, federal law. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States and having knowledge of the commission of any treason against them, conceals and does not, as soon as may be, disclose and make known the same to the President or to some judge of the United States or to the governor. It goes on, felony. Governor Armstrong belongs behind bars for years. This isn't really a deniable charge at this point. This is treason. It's a public investigation. It's been announced publicly. I'm being shadow banned. This case is under investigation in South Florida. All of a sudden, the North Dakota GOP has realized that big money is about to silence the citizens. Trump can't conquer all of the problems all by himself. We have to stand up and fight. We got to speak up and insist on being heard. I'm going to put some nails in this case. I wish I had some more time to prepare this. I have to work for a living. Just digging out all the evidence and producing this is a challenge for me in the time that I have. There's much more than I can present here. I assure you, I have piles of evidence. I'm putting them up on my website. It's ferrisbroxton.com. Graphics 5, please. Before Kelly Armstrong was the governor of North Dakota, he was our U.S. House rep. Mr. Armstrong was on the House Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. He is acutely aware of exactly what's going on. Governor Armstrong has been the person forced to look at the evidence and talk to the witnesses. Now, I'm holding in my hand the last page of the transcript from a hearing that Governor Armstrong was over at that very weaponization of the federal government. I want you to read, well, I'm going to read to you Governor Armstrong's confession, the words out of his own mouth, that he is a willing conspirator to overthrow your country. So what I have here is I have the last page of this hearing. It's page 79, the hearing on the weaponization of the federal government. Mr. Armstrong is talking to an FBI whistleblower named Garrett O'Boyle, Garrett O'Boyle was represented by the ACLJ. He's had different attorneys, and the attorneys that represented him have been asking for people like me to come forward, and I've tried it. I've been intercepted. This high-tech censorship by the spy agencies, following people, intercepting their communications, shadow banning them. Mr. Armstrong, Mr. Boyle, we just heard from your interaction with Mr. Gates and how all this occurred and all the hardships you've gone through. If one of your really good friends, your former colleagues, came to you and said, I have this thing that's being covered up and I think the American people need to know about it, what advice would you give them? The FBI agent, whistleblower, I'd tell them first to pray about it long and hard. I would tell them I could take it to Congress for them, or I could put them in touch with Congress. But I would advise them not to do it. Kelly Armstrong. So you would legitimately try to protect one of your colleagues from doing what you've done, being a whistleblower. Mr. O'Boyle. Absolutely. This is terrifying, y'all. Mr. Armstrong. How do you think that solves being able to shed light on corruption, weaponization, any kind of misconduct that exists with the American people? The FBI whistleblower. It doesn't solve it, but the FBI will crush you. This government will crush you and your family if you try to expose the truth about the things they are doing that are wrong. And we are examples of that. Mr. Armstrong, I can't think of a more sobering way to end a hearing. That's our governor. He knows exactly what's going on. This is obvious. It needs everyone's immediate attention. It does present a problem here in North Dakota. I am running for U.S. House Rep for North Dakota to solve this problem. That creates an issue with the North Dakota GOP and their endorsed candidate, Alex Balazs. I have been shadow banned, which is another criminal action by the deep state against a federal candidate. Now, Fedorchak has failed in this position. I don't have any more chance than a snowball on spring break because of the shadow banning. If the nation had seen what I'd done and heard me and I brought forward in this investigation, I would have blown all the competitors off the tracks like a locomotive with the space shuttle on the back of it. But I'm throwing my support behind Alex Balazs for the primary election to help present a united front. I will be voting with the Republicans supported by the citizens, not the governor. I sincerely hope Alex and the Republican Party will pick up the biggest tool in the toolbox and address the biggest issue in North Dakota and this nation. Alex Baylaws, you have challenged the voters to get off the fence. The devil owns the fence. I'm inviting you to come on this show right here, The Spotlight, and tell North Dakota that you will be the man to do what Kelly Armstrong and Julie Fedorchak have failed to do.